Jay here from Stretford, Paddock, and this is it. It's the big one. It's the FA Cup preview. So we've got out the big guns. James Young joins me, who's basically 1/3 of Scotty and Motty, as well as being... what else do you do?
Right for United we stand.
Right for United we stand. Do you sell United we stand?
Sell United we stand. Write the fanzine, sell the fanzine.
Sell the fanzine, writes the theme tune. It is the FA Cup. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Let us know what you think about it. Are you excited? Do you have FA Cup fever? James, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a bit giddy about this. I love the FA Cup, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred a sort of away tie against someone like, I don't know, it's still left in it. It's in like the National League or League Two or somewhere like that.
I hear that.
The thing is with Reading, I mean, it's an easy team, hopefully, for United to beat. But we have played them a lot.
We have, yeah, bizarrely. But isn't it? I believe they've not beaten us since 1927 or something. That's what I. That's what I
those
read.
records are there to be broken. That's the problem.
That's what I love about David Moyes. He broke them all.
Yeah.
When he was manager of Manchester United.
Like every single day, on Match of the Day, it was like Burnley the first win at Old Trafford in like 34 years or whatever. West Brom first home win since 1904.
He did it. Every week was a different record. It was horrible. What's your favourite FA Cup memory?
It's probably the final in 2016 under Van Gaal, and that run to the final was brilliant. The semi-final, the West Ham game where Rashford took on like 3 players and scored in that.
Class goal that.
It's a really good fun run was that.
Fosu Mensah in that game against West Ham was fantastic, wasn't it? And then, was it the semi-final against Everton where he gave away the penalty and it's like Van Gaal went, right, you're never playing for me again. And he didn't kick a ball for United, I think, ever again. That semi-final, great shout there. The semi-final, Martial's last-minute winner. The final was great. So many good memories involving the FA Cup. Manchester United have got a very good record in it. Although we sort of staggered a little bit, didn't we? Because we used to win it almost every other year or every 3 or 5 years, whatever. And then from like 2004 onwards, thank you, we didn't win it for 12 years, which is a long time for Manchester United. But hopefully we can rectify that. We want to see a trophy, don't we, this season? I think we can all agree on that. How impressed would you be, how buzzing would you be if the FA Cup was lifted in Eric Ten Hag's first season?
Yeah, I mean, it would be more of a success compared to the previous manager who didn't win anything in the 2 and a bit years that he was manager for. And I think that was the problem with Solskjaer, and especially last season under Rangnick. The season was over by this time last year. Went out of the League Cup early on to West Ham. And then lost in the FA Cup to Middlesbrough, and basically in the 3rd or 4th round or whatever it was, and that was it.
And the Champions League, that went with a whimper, didn't it? I got all excited, didn't we? Me and you was in Madrid, and then enough. The less said about that, the better. Manchester United is number 9. At the time of recording this, we don't know the latest update on Anthony Martial, but Weghorst has come in, did very well, I thought, against... I thought he did all right against Arsenal, to be fair, and did well against Forest, obviously. The number 9 has been a bit of an issue this season because of Martial's injuries. What do you make of it? Do you feel like that Weghorst can do a job, and hopefully if Martial gets fit enough, we'll be okay this season?
I think off the bench he probably can. I mean, he's that sort of impact sub I think that Ten Hag's going for, a Hernandez type of player, but... I think the problem is with someone like that is United had the squad depth then to be able to play other players like Rooney and Berbatov, and I think when you're relying on the player that's basically come from Burnley and Besiktas to score 20 goals a season, it's just not going to happen, is it? And he's a useful player to have, don't get me wrong. I think he can provide a role to the team, but United need a proper out-and-out striker, I don't know. I mean, they can't rely on Rashford all the time to score goals like he did against Forest and against Arsenal. They need someone up there who can properly score, and they don't really have that at the minute.
No, they don't. Just quickly, who would you like to see come in the summer to do that?
I mean, the thing is, it's funny because City have got Haaland now, and they've created more problems almost with him, even though he's scoring loads of goals for them. So ideally, you want someone who fits into United's style of play. You don't really, I mean, someone like a Cavani or an Ibrahimovic that United had before were great and they scored loads of goals, but it slowed the rest of the team down. And I think that's the issue United had with Ronaldo as well. Everything went through him. So you want someone who can ideally link up with the rest of the squad, but I don't think there's many players out there really that can do that. I mean, they're going to have to spend a lot of money on someone, and there's no guarantee it's going to work out either.
No, I agree, and there's sort of names being bandied about, but they're all the names like Victor Osimhen or even Harry Kane. It cost you a lot of money. We'll have to wait and see what happens. That's another debate for another day. Talking of number 9s, let's have a look at your predicted 11 then. This is who you think Eric Ten Hag is going to pick for the game at Old Trafford against Reading. The Royals, I think, is their nickname. Yeah, that's a bit of a bad one. You can see James's team there. You've got De Gea, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Malacia, Casemiro, Fred, Fernandes, Rashford, Martial, and Garnacho. That's your team there. A very strong team, James.
Yeah, I think he's going to put a strong team out because I think he's going to be judged on winning trophies as a manager. And you saw it against Charlton, you saw it in the previous round against Everton. He put a strong team out because I think he knows this season the title's probably over now, and his best chance of getting something and getting more time out of himself is by winning stuff. And he would have looked at probably previous managers that United have had, and especially Mourinho. You know, in that first season, he won the Europa League and he won the League Cup, and that obviously didn't build on it. But the momentum that he could have got from that was big, and it just sort of it gives everyone a lot more of a buzz if you win a couple of trophies. And I know like everyone took the piss out of Liverpool for winning the Mickey Mouse treble, as people called it, but I'd take that this season. Of course you would. Being a football fan's about winning trophies, and I've always said like I'd rather United won the Europa League than finish in the top four. Always.
Yours is pretty strong. You've gone for a very strong team. I've gone for a bit more of a mix. Mine's like relatively strong, but there's a few players here who don't start in the Premier League. I'll go through mine quickly. David De Gea in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Victor Lindelof, Lisandro Martinez, and Tyrone Malacia is your back five, basically. Then for midfield, I've got McTominay, I've got Bruno in a more attacking role, and alongside McTominay, I've got Zidane Iqbal, because I think with Zidane Iqbal, you know, he did really well in pre-season. We all expected him to get a few more games or to feature a little bit this season. He hasn't really at all, and I feel like time is running out for him. If he is going to play, he needs to play sooner rather than later, because other than maybe the Forest game, the second leg where maybe he gets a game in that, because obviously we've got a 3-goal advantage, then every other game is must win. You've got the Barca double header. I don't see him featuring in that. Then you've got the Premier League games, which are all must win now, basically. The next round of this cup, if we get through, could be against a Premier League team where you don't want to take a chance. And also, if you do get, or when we get through to the Carabao Cup final, he's not going to get a game there, I don't think. I think that would be pretty far-fetched to expect a player who's not played all season to be thrown in for a cup final. So this, for me, is the sort of almost potentially the last chance he'll get to play for the first team this season, certainly to start. So I wonder if Erik ten Hag maybe thinks that and gives him a game. I don't know. Maybe he's not even in the squad. We'll wait and see. I was just thinking that maybe he could be a youngster that gets a chance. We know that Kobe Mainoo's had a chance, obviously, under Erik ten Hag. Maybe Mainoo comes in, but I've gone with Zidane. Marcus Rashford, don't think you can drop him even for a game against Reading. He's on fire. Keep playing him. He's loving his football, scoring loads of goals. Long may it continue, and he'll want to extend his record of scoring in 10 games at home or 9 games at home or whatever it is. Wout Weghorst, we spoke about him. I think he can do a job in this game. I think there's still sort of question marks about Martial's fitness. I think against Reading, got no qualms with starting Wout Weghorst, and there's a good chance he could do something. I've put Sancho in. Now, I know we don't know if he's definitely going to be available. He might be, he might not be, but I feel like this could be the time, this could be the game to bring him back. It's against a team that's in the bottom half of the Championship. It's at home, it's at Old Trafford. Get him back involved. I don't mind waiting, and I think it's a good idea to make sure he's ready, but this game could be ideal. If not, though, Forest at home is a good one. 3-0 up from the first leg. And also in this game, even if he doesn't start, maybe he comes on. But I've gone with Sancho. And, you know, we might see him in this game. We might see him cameo. We might have to wait a little bit longer. I just thought we'd sort of take our time with him, because I've got no issues with waiting until he's ready. I just feel like you don't want to wait too long, and now could be the time to put him back in against a team with no disrespect. Ain't that great? Get involved in the comments and let us know your team. Let us know whether you agree with James, whether you think you're going to be a proper strong team, whether you agree with me, it's going to be slightly weakened, or whether you think we've both gone too strong and it might be a complete reserve team that Erik ten Hag plays against Paul Ince's men. Now, talking to Paul Ince, he came into Reading on the 20th of February, as you well know. The 14th in the league, doing all right-ish. I mean, it's a bit of a mixed bag, shall we say. Obviously, the win over Watford was a big one. They've also dropped quite a few points in the Championship. Paul Ince, right, when I was a kid, got a picture, I'll show you, was my hero, and I was heartbroken when he left. Honestly, right, when he went to Inter Milan, I was gutted. And I think now there's a bit of revisionism sometimes that goes on with certain fans where they go, he weren't that great United anyway, because everyone don't like him because of what went on. But, you know, when he went to Liverpool and celebrating in front of the Kop and all that against us. But as a manager, what do you think of Paul Ince? Do you think he's one of those who sort of flatters to deceive? Do you think he's a good manager? Do you think he's someone who's just clueless and he's lucky he's got a job?
I mean, his record is pretty good at clubs like Macclesfield and places like that. He has done well in terms of he makes an instant impact at clubs, and he brings them up on the table, and he brings that sort of attitude that he's always had as a player to his teams. But I think against a team like United, and we saw this especially with Charlton, I thought Dean Holden did a pretty good job at like calming his players down and making sure that they were, for most of that game, they were still in it, to be fair to them, and they did a pretty good job, I thought, of nulling United's sort of attacking threat. But I think with Paul Ince, he's just going to be so excited to want to be able to beat United. My hope is that United go 3-0 up after like half an hour, because he's just tried to play this like attractive style of football that he was used to as a player, that he can't do it with Reading.
With Reading. Fun enough, his top scorer is his son, Thomas.
What a weird dynamic that must be. Imagine being managed by your dad.
And it's constant, isn't it? It's happened a few times, this, I think. Certainly, I remember it happening in Blackpool. I might be misremembering it happened anywhere else. But yeah, it's not the first time, anyway, that he's managed his son. It must be weird, like, when you're in the dressing room and you're kicking off. And
it's like Darren and Alex.
That only lasted about, how long was Darren Ferguson at United? It was about a season or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Wasn't long, was it?
Do you remember David Gill's son as well played for United's academy?
Yeah,
Oliver.
He did. Didn't he quit football after a while? Yeah. So there has been a bit of nepotism. I don't think it is nepotism here. I think Thomas is obviously a very good player. He's their top scorer. I think you could argue that he's helped his dad get jobs in the past. The fact that he's been there, but like you say, James, I think that if they do try and play expansive football. Oh yeah, producer Ethan there just flagged up as well. Alex Bruce, Steve Bruce. How can we forget? Was he at Newcastle, Alex Bruce? No, Hull. Was Hull, wasn't it? Right. Yeah. So it does happen. With all that being said, then, give us your score prediction.
I think it will be a comfortable 2-0 win to United. I don't think it will be a great game of football. I can't necessarily think of United winning like maybe 4 or 5-0 or something like that, but I think they just get over the line, get a result, and that's it, because especially in the FA Cup as well, as long as you get through, that's the important thing. And I remember the season, I think it was the United won it under Van Gaal. Do you remember the Sheffield United game where Rooney scored a penalty at the end? And it was the shittest game of football ever. It was like 0-0 and it was like 92nd minute or whatever. I think it was the third round.
Right.
But I think United won the FA Cup that season, I'm fairly certain.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, as long as you get through. It's the same in the Europa League, it's knockout football at the end of the day, isn't it?
You're right, and like you say, when you look back at it, the only sort of games you really remember are either sometimes the semi or whatever. Usually it's just the final, innit? Just winning. That's all that matters. You just win that trophy.
Or even in '99, the third round against Liverpool, where Solskjaer scored right at the end.
That was probably one of the most memorable third rounds, if not the most memorable ones ever. But usually it's just like the facts of winning it what matters. And I think if we can get over the line this season and win the FA Cup, I'd be absolutely buzzing. James, where can people find you? I'm
on Twitter at James Young TV.
James Young TV, doing good stuff, doing interviews with politicians and that, and cutting them off mid-sentence. I'm a big fan of that, eh? Right. You know where to find James. You'll also see him as part of Scotty and Motty as well, so check that out. You know where to find me. Make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. But don't forget, right, you can send us your score predictions. Get your phone out. In landscapes like that, just record yourself for 30 seconds, just saying, I think the score for United versus Reading is going to be 5-0 or whatever. Did we do your score prediction?
No.
No, we didn't. That's a good point. What's your score prediction?
We just did it then. I'm just testing your mind.
Did you?
Yeah.
My memory's gone.
Yeah.
I can't remember what you said. Remind me.
It's a 2-0.
2-0.
I told you how it should be a comfortable win for United.
He says a comfortable win for United. I don't think I did mine. That's the problem. I'm going to go 4-0 United. There you go. United to beat the Royals 4-0. So let us know your score prediction. Check out James. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. This has been the FA Cup preview. United versus Reading. Thanks for watching.